Want to watch a basketball game, but
welcome everybody. It's 5:30. It's time for our regular scheduled meeting this February 27th, 2018. I would like to call on Selectmen Eubanks to ask him to offer a prayer for the meeting, please.
Let's bow our heads. Almighty God, in your infinite wisdom, bless all those that are here today and those that could not attend. Bless our police officers, our firemen, and all our city workers. Bless the selectmen and the mayor that's here doing the people's business. Please give us your grace and thank you amongst all of us for giving your son so that we may live. Thank you. And amen.
Before I begin, I'd like to recognize Ms. Mamie Kettle and Mrs. Pittman, the advisor. This is the McComb the McComb Youth Council, the NAACP. Ms. Kettle, would you like to introduce your team?
Actually, I would not. I would like for my youth to introduce us.
Good evening, my name is Victoria Pittman, and I'm the Vice President of the NAACP McComb Youth Council. On behalf of Ms. Mamie Kettle and the McComb Youth Council, it's an honor and privilege to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for
Yes, ma'am. Glad you're here. Board, you would see we've got one addendum item, a matter of going into executive session. I need a motion and a second to add one additional item. Second. Selectman Tullis made the motion, Selectman Eubanks for the second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, then we proceed to the consent docket agenda. Without objection. Selectman Brock, what would you like to remove, sir? C. Remove item C. Anything else? When the board before you, the consent docket, you have items A, B, and D. Without objection, they'd be so approved. Done. Then we'd move to consider receiving the minutes of the meeting of the municipal election inspectors for the city of McComb held Wednesday, February 21st, 2018, found on page 8. Selectman Brock.
Thank you, Mayor. It's my understanding at our last board meeting that we agreed we had some differences in the election process, and we agreed to come back to this board meeting and be brought up to speed, up to date from our attorney, what was going on. Since that meeting, I sent out an email asking that no vote, no signatures, or nothing be signed in regard to this election until we brought up to speed. And it's my understanding that this municipal election inspectors, that should be commissioners, have had a meeting. We were not informed of what's going on with it prior to this meeting as requested, and just want an explanation of it.
Okay, I know that there was discussion about, but you know, this body, there was no. I don't know that there was no motion made or seconded. You brought this before the board, but the inspectors are an independent body. In my mind, I would defer to the attorney, but they've got to meet and do the affairs of elections, Selectman Brock, and I think that's what these minutes are entail. City Attorney, do you have anything you add or share to that?
As I remember, the inspectors, I was not present, but they did so at my advice, met and determined that the paper ballots would be used. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir.
And they prepared minutes reflecting that, and, they won't know who's on the paper ballots until the qualifying deadline has passed. That's the only advice I've given out to date, and that's the only thing that's been brought to
Okay,
me.
and is that,
Give advice upon.
is that in relationship to the general election or primary?
That would be the primary election. That's the way it stands now. The, creation of the, general election ballots would take place after the primaries when the nominees are decided.
Okay, how did the, election, the 3-panel election commissioners or inspectors, all the same, get in charge over the primary?
They're not in charge of the primary, and they are not in charge of the primary. They will absolutely be in charge of the general election in June. But I'm now reading and have talked, and I think that my advice, and I'm not prepared to give that, is that each party has the option to enter into a contract with the clerk or the Municipal Election Commission, which in McComb are the election inspectors. If they do not enter into such contract, and by and large, with some exceptions, the parties' municipal election committees will handle the primaries, most of the obligations imposed by law.
Okay. Now, so who's in charge of the primary election?
Well, it's going to be, I'm reading the statutes now and trying to make myself notes about how the law divides the obligations and the duties up, and I'm in the process of doing that now, Mr. Rob.
Okay, so the commissioners are in charge of the general election. Inspectors are in charge of the, and you keep saying inspectors. When we go back to 2010, we had commissioners. And the election in 2014 were commissioners. Now, were those elections illegal?
No.
They were legal?
We don't, no. We were using, apparently back then, the wrong terminology was used. But the exact terminology under McComb's special charter is election commissioners who, by that special charter, hold the elections every 4 years, and they are appointed by the mayor.
Okay.
But the verbiage is inspectors.
Yes, inspectors, but in talking to Mr. Phil Carter with the Attorney General's office, his advice to me, in which I already understood this was what the case was, whatever this book says municipal election commissioners do, in McComb, those duties are said to be required to be performed by the municipal election commissioners in this book, 23, pertaining to election. They are done instead by McComb's election inspectors.
Okay. And if I may, Mr. Butler, has any documents been signed from the Democratic Executive Committee or Republican Executive Committee?
I would have to,
commissions?
I would have to ask the bill that I'm not aware of anything that has been signed, Mr. Rob.
Could you answer, please, sir?
Well, I asked her within the last week or so whether or not a contract had been signed between the clerk or the election inspectors and either of the parties' officers. And I believe you, did your Republicans sign?
I have one, we haven't signed it.
What, ma'am?
I got one, but the Republicans, they had been resigned,
Hadn't been signed by who?
Me.
Okay.
So the,
But that, I mean, that would be your decision. If that party wishes you to participate in the conduct of their primaries, and I'll find it in a minute, I've read it already. But if the other party does not ask you or the inspectors,
And they have not.
and they're not,
No, sir.
right.
okay, so the, as of right now, it's the intentions of the election inspectors, commissioners to take over the Republican primary.
I can't say now, she said the Republicans brought a contract form signed in.
Madam Clerk, do you have a copy of it?
Yeah, I hadn't been signed yet.
Do you have a
I don't
copy?
have enough.
Ma'am,
I do not. No, sir.
okay.
That should be brought up, and you make your decision in the inspectors meeting.
I met with Ms. Bennett, she knows, we get some changes made to it, so Ms. Bennett and I met with her, she knows, I talked to her already.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, so their intentions are to take over the Republican executive primary, Republican primary.
It's not a takeover, it's we're gonna have shared duty, she asking some things from us, and then we're gonna ask some things from her, so it's an agreement.
Okay.
And she's looked out in the ladder what she needs from us.
Okay, now the Municipal Democratic Executive Committee has not engaged with any contract?
No, sir.
They haven't spoken any
No, sir.
contract? So as of now, they're in charge of their primary,
My answer is, sir.
they're in charge of their primary, Mr. Dottie?
Yes, sir.
Can
And
I-
there are some exceptions now, I'm going through and I will make them and point them out to the, I can't do it tonight. But as a general rule, they will be in charge of running their party's primary. If they don't contract with the clerk or the election inspectors.
Okay.
So at the last board meeting, the point was that, reading from the charter, it said that all elections, and we kept going back to all elections, and general, primary, all elections. So have you changed what you were saying?
No, I'm not changing. When you read this, there are some statutes that say that party executive committees do this and this and this. And then there are others that say election commissioners, which in our instance would be the election inspectors. I've just not had a chance to sit down, go through it, and get with the clerk and the inspectors and tell them, or the people with the local committees, and tell them what it appears that each code in this book requires them to perform.
So all elections does not mean primaries?
Yes, sir. It does include primaries.
It says all elections after the first, what's the first election?
The
We're
first-
talking about elections.
The first election.
Let me finish,
Okay.
let me finish. We're talking about elections, and the first election is the primary out of the election.
No, sir. Reading the
The
charter.
primary is the first election out of the election. The charter does not say primary in it.
But what the charter says is that, that when you incorporated the city, the first election was the very first election ever held. The very first election ever held by the city of McComb was a chartered incorporated city. That was the first election. And every election thereafter is
So all of these.
so the first election is the first election the city ever had as the city of McComb, back in 1872, whenever that was.
That's, Mayor.
That was the first election.
That's your interpretation.
Yes,
These documents say otherwise. These are agreements between commissioners and executive parties
in the past.
in the past.
Okay.
2010 is the past and 2014 is the past.
Understand, that's right.
That I wasn't part of this board in 2010, but you were part of it, and if these are not legal, then if these are legal, then you got the right to sit there. If they're not legal, then you shouldn't be sitting there.
I don't think that they would be, I don't think the point is whether they're illegal, that's just how it was conducted.
This is conducted, you're saying this is conducted correctly or illegal?
Well, I'm saying that it was conducted correctly as the election inspectors at the time saw fit. Okay, so that's how I've interpreted mine, but I'm not, this is man's got the book, so I'm just telling you what I heard the other night was all elections and reading that, you know, after the first. And so, but I hear something different tonight.
No, you're not hearing anything different tonight.
Well, I just want to resolve, and I'm sure the inspectors want to.
One sentence, all elections are to be held by the inspector. But, there's a general rule, law in Mississippi is that where you've got a special charter, and there are parts of the code that are not specifically addressed in your charter, that code stands. So, if I'm going through, I'm gonna find the code sections that are not covered in our special charter. I'm gonna write them down, and I'll try my best to itemize it for whoever wants to receive that itemization.
All the city wants is a good section run. That's all we want, and do it right. That's all we want.
And we don't want any opportunity for anybody to come back and say this wasn't legitimate. Either side, it doesn't matter. We want a straight, fair election. That's the bottom line. Now, if the election, if we proceed on course of where we're going with these minutes, because what's in these minutes is a lot of, let me get to it. There's a lot of discrepancies of what I heard in that particular meeting. It's not all in here, but I got a copy. What I heard in here is that the election inspectors are going to be in charge. So who's going to certify the election?
All right, let me finish reading the book and writing down what I think will have to be done by the inspectors and what will have to be done by the executive committee if they don't sign a contract with the inspectors or the clerk.
I'll have to make a motion to table these minutes.
So moved.
I think that with the questions I'm hearing from the attorney, I think that would be in order. It's non-debatable. All in favor of tabling, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. Motion was tabled. Next, I have a resolution.
Mayor, excuse me. This is like the fourth time it's come up with this board about this election and the confusion about this election. What can this board do to get this resolved now? We've had elections for 100 years and we never had a problem until this election, and I want to know how to get all these answers resolved so we can move forward so the citizens of McComb know that their election is going to be handled correctly, because all it's creating is confusion around this board, and I don't like it.
With all respect, I don't think there's any confusion now. All I'm asking is to allow me to go through and make a list, and I will do that.
Okay.
I mean, we're not deciding the election tonight. I don't think there's any confusion.
The whole process has been questioned for the last 3 board meetings, and I don't understand why. It's like we had in our first election. That's my point.
All right, well, let the city attorney finish his work here, and clerk and the inspectors will proceed. You know, we're going to do this thing as it's supposed to be done. That's the bottom line.
Right.
And I'm sorry about the back and forth, but, you know, here it is. Okay, Senator Cameron, you hadn't spoken yet, sir. Go ahead.
If we need to advise our attorney that if he sees something in our charter that you think would be better off served in a different way, can we ask him to bring us some suggestions?
Well, we have to accept the charter. Y'all have amended the charter in the past. You remember, used to, the McComb elections were on Mondays. Y'all amended to put it on Tuesdays, and it's a long, complicated process. Y'all have to vote. It has to be published, giving the citizens time to say they want to vote on the proposed change. Then it's sent to the Attorney General, then it's sent to the Governor for approval, and then it's filed with the Secretary of State. So I'm comfortable that there's not gonna be any confusion in this election. We will follow the charter. The charter has one sentence about McComb elections. It's very simple. And as I've told you, all that says is we've got inspectors, and when you read this book where it says election commissioners under general law, the inspectors do what these call for commissioners to do. While we've been sitting here talking, I'm reading now an Attorney General's opinion. Agreements between an election commission, here are inspectors, and a party executive committee as authorized by statute for the performance of one or more of the various duties, such as, and here's what's listed, training poll workers. There's a statute on training poll workers. If no contract is signed, the party hierarchies will train the poll workers. If y'all contract with another party, then you will assist in training poll workers, appointing poll workers, distributing ballot boxes, having ballots printed, distributing ballots, and receiving and canvassing election returns. In connection with primary elections, may contain provisions whereby the executive committee agrees to cooperate with commissioners. I believe that if one party doesn't want to work with on the primary, on their primary, with the inspectors, then they will train their poll workers. They will appoint their poll workers. They will distribute ballot boxes. They will have ballots printed. They will distribute ballots and receive and canvass election returns.
Okay.
But there's no question, after those two primaries are held, in June, the general election, all those matters will be decided by the election inspectors.
Selectman Hill.
Thank you. I have a suggestion and also a question. I suggest that we run the election as we did on the last election to keep down confusion, because it's quite strange that we're even trying to change everything up at this moment with this election. So I suggest that we run it as we did on the last election. And I think the confusion is coming from the fact that the mayor is appointing a committee, where the mayor has the opportunity to appoint a committee. And my question is, did the mayor appoint a committee in the last election?
They've always, as far as I'm aware, 3 election inspectors have always been appointed by McComb mayors.
Yes.
That did not run the primary.
Yeah, and so, the mayor, as per this charter, appoints election inspectors. And the only instruction the mayor would ever give to inspectors is, I want the best possible race conducted in the city with no snafus. I want it perfect, run perfectly. And that's the only charge that I give to them. And so, because at the end of the day, the results of the election, or certification is going to come to them, and they're going to be on, everybody's going to be looking at them. So I said, that's all what I've ever done. And so, but as far as running the elections, this board doesn't make that decision, and I think that we would all acknowledge that the board doesn't make the decision how the elections run. It's going to be, what we're hearing right now, it's going to be determined by the executive committee. The specific primaries is what I think is laying out, and then, the inspectors are going to run the general election. So we don't have so we don't set out how it's run, and we never have set out how it's going to be run. It's been run between the commissioners and the parties.
Okay.
And I think that's where we are.
Let me finish, Coach.
My follow-up is, did you read this statute in the past election?
Sure.
So you read all in the past election, and did you not try to allow, or did you want your inspectors to run the primaries in the last election?
I never said one way or the other.
Okay, so why is it so adamant now that they run the primaries?
I've never said it was. I've never been adamant. I'm just telling you that they're going to. I want the inspectors to do it as they're supposed to do it.
Okay. Good.
And so I don't have it doesn't matter. Tinker's damn me who does it. But whatever the law says is how it's going to be done, in my mind. And if the law says that the primaries are run by the executive committees of specific parties, or they can delegate to the inspectors, if that's the contract, that's how they go. That's how they've done it in the past. But, you know, it's what we're seeing. Now, but if the inspectors are, you know, have this group is of a mindset that they are, you know, that they're following state law, that they're supposed to run all elections after the first general, which is what I heard clearly last time in here, you know, that maybe they're getting a different opinion tonight than what they may have gotten a couple of weeks ago. So, but anyway, it will all be worked out, and that's all we care about, is it gets worked out and done correctly.
Okay, let me finish. I kind of got cut off. Let me say to the citizens that there's no confusion here, and this, as long as we've been sitting here, this is not brand new. In 2014, y'all sit here, I wasn't on the board. You sit here 1 hour and debate about the dates, election dates, so this takes time to do. This process takes time, so we're just not sitting here rattling around. It's a process, whether you're on this board this term, or you was last term, or maybe in the future, and it's going to continue to hash these things out until we get it solved.
Okay. Then on the attorney and the clerk and the inspectors to get it right. That's all I can ask. That's all we can ask. Okay. I need move that we consider receiving a resolution recognizing February 2018 as Black History Month. Seven Eubanks.
Second.
Second McKenzie for the second discussion. Vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And this is kind of like, I'd like to just read this. Recognizing the significance of Black History Month, whereas Black History Month is celebrated during the month of February, dates back to 1926, where Dr. Carter G. Woodson set aside a special period in February to recognize the heritage and achievement of black people of the United States. Whereas Black History Month was created to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of black Americans in every endeavor throughout our history. And whereas Black History Month is aimed to recognize the history of African American accomplishments and triumphs over adversity embedded in so many historical sites in our nation. And whereas the city of McComb City, Mississippi recognizes the significance of Black History Month as an important time to acknowledge and celebrate the contributions of African Americans in the nation's history, to provide an opportunity for all people of the city to learn more about the past and to better understand the experiences that have shaped the nation. And whereas Black History Month is a time to remember the lessons and teachings of those who helped build our nation, took a stand against prejudice to build lives of dignity and opportunity, advance the important cause of civil rights, and strengthen families and communities. Whereas the contributions of African Americans from all walks of life throughout the history of the United States reflect the greatness of the United States. Whereas many African Americans lived, toiled, and died in obscurity, never achieving the recognition they deserved, and yet paved the way for future generations to succeed. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Whitney Rawlings, Mayor, City of McComb City, Mississippi, recognizes that racial diversity of the United States enriches and strengthens the nation, and encourages all citizens to include in their year-round educational curriculum the history and contributions of African Americans in the United States and around the world. This order, the 27th day of February 2018, Board of Mayor and Selectmen, City of McComb. Whitney Rawlings, Mayor. Thank you, Board. Appreciate that. Next, we have receiving comments from Malcolm Allen regarding the Arts Council project. Mr. Allen,
Thank you.
3 minutes, sir.
I hope this will be on a lighter note here. The Arts Council is sponsoring a project, and we have a mission statement here, a proposal, so I'm going to read that to you, which will save some time, okay? And if anybody has a question after this, what we're basically doing here tonight is we're asking if the city would like to participate in our project, okay? Our project is called Community Blue Bottle Tree Project Installation, sponsored by the Pike County Arts Council. The primary objective of the Pike County Arts Council is to promote the arts in our community and to promote our community in any way that we can. purpose of our community project is twofold. First, we believe that at this particular time, our community could use a boost in our morale and to show that good things can happen in our community, especially if we all work together. Second, our project allows for the installation of art in the public square. Many cities do this. Our sponsored project will include our entire community from Osaka in the south north to Dixie Springs. The project is open to participation to local city governments, the county, organizations, schools, churches, businesses, and to individuals. Blue bottle trees were first introduced to the public as a whole when in the 1930s Eudora Welty became employed by the WPA, given a camera, and was instructed to photograph everyday life in rural Mississippi. In her travels, she discovered the use of blue bottle trees in yards across the state. Welty would go on to publish photographs of blue bottle trees, and she would begin to include description of blue bottle trees in her writings. In this, we're including Eudora Welty in our project. Okay, Welty described that the intent of blue bottles was to capture the devil or other evil spirits before they can enter your house, or worst of all, enter your soul and possess you. The folklore practice of placing blue bottle trees in yards was not intended to be regarded as art, would become thought as a form of Southern folk art that the public would eagerly embrace as yard art. Our project would like to see the placement of blue bottle trees across the entire community. We think that the blue bottle trees will make a bold appearance as art and will work to stimulate our community spirits for the better. We think that the construction of a blue bottle tree, usually made of rebar, is fairly simple and cost-effective. The cobalt blue bottles are easy to find, and the structure, once in placement, are virtually weatherproof. The size and style of your blue bottle tree is left up to you. We're getting this information out to anyone who'd like to participate. It's left up to you. Pictures of blue bottle trees can be found online. Blue bottles can be bought online, and we'd like to use only cobalt blue bottles for effect. We also think that the installation of blue bottle trees will be unique and will attract people to visit our community and to spend money here. The Arts Council intends to advertise our project in local newspapers. We have a newspaper article coming out about it, and expose our project in such publications as Mississippi Magazine and in Bluffs and Bayous and online. We would like to launch the installation of the blue bottle trees in the beginning of April, with the installation to be made within a 2-day period so as for the trees to appear at once. As stated, the purpose of the Pike County Arts Council is to promote good spirit and to bring art to our community. Your participation in our community project will be greatly appreciated by the Pike County Arts Council. And we have made contact with every bank. They're totally on board. The chamber's totally on board. We've approached churches. They're totally on board. We made cold calls around just to see what the reaction was to it was. I went to Southwest today and talked to all of them. They're going to put blue bottle trees across their campus. The welding department is going to make their facilities available to us. I went to the hospital today. They're on board with it. Everybody that we've talked to, we've got a 100% support from them. No objection from anybody. What we're trying to do is, we are not a political organization, but we do observe politics, and we think that there's a lull over the city, and we are demoralized in the city, and we recognize this, and we promote the community in any way that we can possibly do. So what our project is aimed to do is to try to bring some morale, to lift the morale of this community, and we think the installation of art from Osaka to Dixie Springs in the public square will do that, and will bring art. If you go to any town, all towns do this. And I think that it will make an impact on the community, and everybody that we've talked to and approached is 100% behind us, including the chamber, and all banks, and everybody that we've gone to. So behind our project 100%, and we are going forward with our project. And we want to invite the entire community to participate. You can participate as individuals if you would like to. You can put them in your yard if you want to. And we envision a lot of them from one end of the county to the other. And we think that it will help bring our spirits up and show that we're alive and well, and we're doing something to promote our community. And we think it will enhance commerce, because things like that bring people to town. Summit is going to do it for us, and they're going to put blue bottle trees up and down their main street. And people who come there will look at those and spread the word. You should see what they're doing in Summit. They're 100% behind. Magnolia's 100% behind us, Oneida is, and Dixie Springs is.
All right, well, we'll ask the board to consider the resolution, Mr. Allen, next appropriate meeting. And if maybe in the next couple of days, maybe a member of you or somebody would come by my office and let's get some printed material together.
Yeah, we have literature.
We can
I'm
present
here
to the board.
just tonight to announce it
Yep.
and ask you if you would like to participate.
Got it.
And we will have information available to anyone who wants the information about our purpose and everything that we're doing and why.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Thank you, Pike County Arts. Pike County Arts Council. Very good. Sounds like a great project. Item number 5, I move to consider adopting a resolution appointing Jerry Russell Jones, Jr. as a probationary police officer for the Police Division for the Department of Public Safety effective March 9, 2018. I need a motion and a second. So moved. Selectman Tullis made the motion, Selectman Eubanks for the second. Chief Scott McKenzie, is Jerry Russell Jones, Jr. present?
Standing before you, sir.
Hello, Mr. Jones.
Sir, how you doing?
Fine, sir. Would you like to,
Yes, sir. Mr. Jones has completed all the necessary requirements to be considered for employment with the City of McComb Police Department. Mr. Jones is a local individual. He comes to us with plus or minus 10 years of law enforcement service before coming to work here. He served with Vicksburg Police Department. He's also served with the University of Mississippi Medical Center Campus Police Department, as well as the Pike County Sheriff's Office, and most recently with the Department of Transportation Law Enforcement Division. He is not coming to us because of the money. He's going to get a substantial decrease in pay. But he feels like that he could give a much better job to the community than what he's doing with Department of Transportation. I believe he enjoys that job. It's allowed him a little more freedom to do some things that he wanted to do, but I think he's been missing something. And I think putting him to work in the City of McComb is going to fill that role for him.
did I hear you say the word certified?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
You approve him tonight. He goes on payroll and actually begins working March 9th.
March 9th. Mr. Jones, would you like to speak to the board before we vote, sir?
I love the opportunity to work on McComb, the City of McComb Police Department.
Well, we hope that we can give you the opportunity to work for the City of McComb and share your experiences with us. It sounds as though you have vast experience, so.
He also comes, his spouse is with him as well. She is a Pike County Sheriff's Sergeant.
Okay.
Patrol Division, Lieutenant now, sorry. So it's in the family there. So
Very good.
they're both given to the community, and we're proud to have them on board, and have him on board.
Board, are you prepared to vote?
Ready?
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Congratulations. Mr. Jones, you mentioned that your wife, Lieutenant Jones, is here.
Yes, sir.
Would you care to introduce her to this board, to the vote? And children, or just you and your wife here tonight?
My mother's here, but she's...
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you for sharing your son with us, ma'am. And your wife's first name?
Billadette.
Billadette. With a B?
Yes.
All right. And you call her Billa?
No, I'm called Beetle.
Beetle.
Bina.
All right, Tina. Lieutenant Jones. All right, well, congratulations, sir. Good luck to you, sir. Serve our city well. All right. Thank you. And you can bring your wife, well, I don't know if that's be like that. Okay. Yes, and it's so I won't mention the Deputy Chief Scott that we'd like to have as officer, but we appreciate it. Deputy Chief Scott, would you like to stand, sir? The Pike County Sheriff's Department.
I'm trying to steal him back. Great officer.
It don't work, well, can't do this. All right. Thank you, Chief Deputy. Item number 6, move to consider adopting a resolution adopting Kizzy Coney, two-term C of the Board of Trustees for Macomb School District. Term C is a 5-year term, will expire February 28, 2023. I need a motion and a second. Let me tell us.
Mayor, I believe you misread that. I have Steve Coney, Lynn Gilmore, Sean, Matt Cotton, Don Johnson, and Kimberly Barnes.
Correct. And there's, but as a matter of how we do these appointments, well, we can't get into discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
Selectman Cameron for a second. As a matter, we proceed with these elections through order received. And so that was the first one in, and so that is the first one considered. And we go down the list until we get consensus on a particular candidate. Okay? Selectman Brock.
Mayor.
Yes.
That is inaccurate, incorrect.
Okay.
And allow me to explain it.
All right.
In 2014, we had a candidate, had a school board appointment, Mr. Maurice Chester, Grace Witt, and Lisa Deere. And before the meeting started, Mr. Ted Tullis asked you who was the first applicant in, and you told him that Witt Grace was the first one in. You got it in December. And you told Mr. Tullis that you, however, it's been a courtesy of the board, get the video right here, courtesy of the board to allow the incompetent to move first. And you told Mr. Tullis that you're going to move Mr. Maurice Chester up to the first spot.
Okay.
So I wish you'd reconsider that.
All right. Selectman Hill.
I was just going to say the same thing. It's funny that you say that she was the first one to turn in, but you also sent us an email recommending Kizzy. So my question is, for the public, I don't have anything against Ms. Kizzy County for what I'm about to say, but I want to know why the mayor pushing for Ms. Kizzy County and not going in the order of reappointing Ms. Lynn Gilmore first, or giving the board the opportunity to vote on that instead of just going directly to the person that you would like to see fit, because you have sent us an email recommending Ms. Kizzy County to us. So my question to the mayor is that why are you pushing this and not giving the board opportunity to make a decision? Why are you pushing Ms. Kizzy County?
All right. Anybody else? Okay. Oh, and public, I would be glad to speak to that. The mayor is bound, his duty to assess the needs of the city, boards and commission appointments, and make recommendations to the governing body. So that is in that book that Selectman Brock has got there. That's the responsibility of the mayor. And I always, as mayor, for all boards and commissions, go out and seek qualified people, in my mind, to fill these positions and make those recommendations. And so that's exactly what has happened here tonight. Okay. All right. Okay. Selectman Eubank, sir.
Yes, sir. Who did you speak with pertaining to Ms. Coney? Did you speak to Ms. Coney?
Absolutely.
Did you speak to any board members of the school board?
I spoke to Ms. Coney.
Did you speak? No, that's not my question. Thank you for the answer, though. But did you speak to anyone on the school board?
Well, Selectman Hill,
It's a yes or no question, sir.
I'm not sitting there asking question and answer. So if you've got something to state, state it. If not, we'll move on to the next.
I take that as an affirmative. Who on the school board did you speak with?
All right. Okay. Is there anything else, sir?
Either you're going to answer or not answer. You don't have to answer now. You don't.
This is not question and answer.
Did you speak to the superintendent?
I speak to the superintendent on a regular basis. But
did you speak to the superintendent pertaining to this particular issue?
Okay. Selectman Brock, you got something, sir?
No, sir. I got the phone.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna go back. If you speak to anyone on the school board or the superintendent pertaining to this issue, it's just that you do not have to answer that. It's up to you.
Next question.
Okay. When did you speak to these persons? Did you initiate the conversation?
Absolutely.
So here you're saying that Ms. Coney turned in hers first. So did you speak to her before she turned it in, or did you speak to her after she turned it in?
Well, Selectman Eubank, I would have called the person to ask them if they would consider.
My question simply was, did you call her? Did you initiate the conversation, or did she initiate the conversation?
I did call her.
So you specifically called her, okay.
Selectman Brock.
Yes.
I recognize you, I can come back here.
Again, it's not the issue of, I'm gonna move away from Mr. Eubanks and back to where I was. You said, and those appointments are not in here by school board at all. But you told Mr. Tullis, and it came to the same issue, that you were moving Mr. Chester up, even though you had somebody that was an applicant in before Mr. Chester.
Okay.
Because from what the video says, Mr. Tullis didn't understand why were you taking that approach. And you cleared it up and said that was customary, that we would take the incumbent in first, and then if we didn't like that, vote it down, we'll move on.
Okay. Well, as, and, the chair, sit here and, chair can always be overruled, Selectman Brock, so I just leave it at that. Selectman McKenzie.
I was just gonna say, I spoke to Ms. Coney when she came to the Higgins Gym meeting, and it's where I first met her, and I've spoke to her since, and I think it would be good, where I value Ms. Gilmore's tenure there. I think it's time to get some school board members on the board who have kids in the school district, and she has a 9th grader and a 4th grader, and I think that would be a good fit.
Sutton Hill.
Yes, I wish we would have took that into consideration the last time we elected or appointed a school board member. Ms. Murray did not have and does not have any children within the McComb School District, and her public education ended years ago. So her attachment to the public schools and children may be far away according to her application and to her resume. So now to hear the language about we need school board members that have children within our school district, it's foreign to me, because that was not the language that was spoken from the board members a year ago when we appointed another school board member. Again, Ms. Keely Coney is a great person. I work with Ms. Keely Coney on events dealing with our children. The matter is the approach that our mayor is taking with this, with appointing a member to our school board, and why is it different now? Whenever someone brings something to you that has brought nothing good to you in quite some time, and it comes in a different manner, you tend to question it. And again, it's nothing against Ms. Keely Coney, but only against the mayor's approach of how he's trying to appoint a member to our school board. So I ask you, Mayor, will you take the same approach and the same courtesy that you gave Selectman Ted Tullis and that appointment that Selectman Brock speak of? Will you allow the board to reappoint the incumbent, Ms. Lynn Gilmore, to our school board? And if not, then let's move forward.
Well, there's been a motion duly made and seconded. This is before us to reconsider. We are discussing that motion as we speak.
And
Selectman
what is
Brock.
that motion, Mayor?
To appoint Kizzy Coney.
And as Selectman Eubanks said, you read that wrong. That's a list of names there.
I filled in the blank. It said Kizzy Coney.
There's no blank there.
It's been motioned and seconded that we appoint Kizzy Coney. Selectman Brock.
Back to these appointments, I noticed in the email you sent, you talked about the Ms. Coney with kids in the district. Mr. Chester doesn't have any kids in the district. We argued that same point when we nominated Ms. Betsy Merle. They went in one year after the other. She doesn't have any kids in the school district. Ms. Gayton doesn't have any school kids in the district. She was elected. Mr. Rayburn doesn't have any kids in the school district. We argued the same point. We went in one year and out the other. So the issue about kids in the district is not a bona fide issue. Never has been. I have kids in the district. Mr. Tullis doesn't have kids in the district. He has 100% vote here. Mr. Cameron doesn't have any kids here. He's got 100%. Mr. McKenzie doesn't have any kids. He's got 100% vote here. I got 3 kids in the district. And my vote's going to be what's best for all the kids, and particularly my 3 kids. And I see that as Ms. Lynn Gilmore. I'd like to make a motion to overrule the chair that we move Ms. Lynn Gilmore first.
There's been a motion to overrule the chair.
So moved.
It's been seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Hey,
Well, that's a vote of 3-3, and so the mayor would vote nay. The motion to overrule has been displayed. So back to the question of Ms. Coney. Folks, if you'd like to stay, you need to remain quiet. If not, we can go somewhere, we can go outside. So the discussion about Ms. Coney is before us, and it's a Selectman Hill.
So, again, I would echo, Mayor, will you, because you are the chairman of this body, and I ask you for the same courtesy treatment, fair treatment that you gave Selectman Ted Tullis and his request. It's only out of respect, out of the service and the time and the effort and the skills that our school board member now, Ms. Lynn Gilmore, has given us to give her the duly right. Because it's obvious where this is going to go. At least give her the opportunity to have a yes or no. Because we see how this board operates and functions, so we know where the vote's going to go. But I think that it's very important that we give her the opportunity for her time and service to get a yes or a no. So I'll ask you again, Mayor, will you give us the same courtesy as you gave Selectman Ted Tullis and moving our school board member now, Ms. Lynn Gilmore, to the front? It's not a big issue. It's something that can be easily done. I just think that it's disrespectful to not even give her opportunity to hear a yes or a no. Mayor.
All right. Anybody else?
What does, you spoke to Ms. Kinsey, Selectman at large, Selectman Kinsey spoke to, has anybody else spoke to Ms. Kinsey, Conan? Mr. Tullis, I remember years ago, you went to, school board meeting, and you came back and I talked with you, and said that, now the one person speaking up on that board, that's Ms. Lynn Gilmore. You remember that?
Okay. Anything else?
I think they've got this confused. Chester was not, I didn't go there. He went there, so you got this confused. Well, I didn't ask, I was asking somebody else to move forward. The mayor moved Chester forward. You got it confused.
All right. So the vote is before us. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Mayor votes aye. Ms. Tony's been appointed. All right, thank you, board. Number 7, move to consider adopting a resolution appointing Johnny Turner on the Planning Commission Board, term F, which will expire February 28, 2021. Appointments are for a 3-year term. Is there a motion and a second? So moved. Selectman Tullis. Selectman Eubanks. Discussion on this matter. Are you ready to vote? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All in favor. Item number 8, move to consider receiving check number 1441 in the amount of $225 from William Power to the McComb Animal Shelter to be deposited in the fund 001000346 and increase line item number 001105770 and further authorize a budget amendment for said amount. These funds are to be used to purchase necessary equipment and supplies from the McComb Animal Shelter only. A motion and a second, please. Selectman Tullis.
Second.
Selectman McKenzie for the second. Discussion on item number 8. Vote. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Item number 9, move to consider receiving 9 checks in the total amount of $770. Donations from a Valentine's Day raffle conducted by is it Mr. or Mrs.? Mrs., isn't it? Yes. Mrs. Missy Hughes to the McComb Animal Shelter to be deposited in Fund 001000346 and increase line item number 001105770 and further authorize a budget amendment for said amount. These funds will be used to purchase necessary equipment and supplies of McComb Animal Shelter only. Need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Selectman Tullis, Selectman McKenzie for the second. Discussion. Vote. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Chief, that's Ms. Hughes again has stepped up and raised a lot of money for our shelter, and we're quite proud of Ms. Hughes and what she's doing. I'm certain we're getting letters out. If you need some assistance from the mayor, I'll be glad to help. Okay. Number 10, move to consider receiving check number 9686 in the amount of $25 from Ken and Dale Barbier, Glasgow, in the memory of R.J. Pye Barbier, to the McComb Animal Shelter to be deposited into Fund 001-000346, and increase line item number, excuse sir, you gone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 001-105-770, and further authorize a budget amendment for said amount. These funds will be used to purchase necessary equipment and supplies from McComb Animal Shelter only. Motion and a second.
So moved.
Lemon Tullis,
Second.
Lemon Cameron for the second. Discussion on item number 10. Ready to vote? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Consider receiving check number 800 in the amount of $734.56 from Mary C. Wheatley as a reimbursement that was paid directly to Detective Sidney Boyd by the State of Mississippi Attorney General's Office as reimbursement for training that should have been paid to the City of McComb. These funds are to be deposited into the general fund and moved to the police training budget 001-110635. And further authorizing budget amendment for said amount. These funds will be used for future training of police personnel. Motion and a second.
So moved.
Lemon Tullis. Lemon Eubanks for the second. Chief Scott McKenzie, just walk us through this little process and how we got here. What happened here, sir?
Detective Boyd is part of a statewide task force that assists the Attorney General's office with child exploitation cases throughout our area. He was chosen based on that service to attend the training class in Tampa, Florida for a week. The Attorney General's office paid for everything in order to get him there, his meals, his rental car, that sort of thing. The city took care of the flight and the hotel room. Officer Boyd, out of his own pocket up front, took care of the rental car and any incidentals and meals and such that he had while he was there. Once that was over with, he submitted documentation back to the Attorney General's office. They sent out a check to him for the entire amount, itemized on the statement. We got a copy of that statement. We deducted what his portion was. That left $734 and change coming back to the city to go back in our training fund to continue with that type of training.
Got it. Everybody understand that? Questions? Discussion? Vote. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Congratulations to Detective Boyd for, being such an outstanding officer and recognized by the Attorney General. Appreciate his good training. Item number 12. Move to consider awarding Southern Electric Corporation of Mississippi, Inc., 4374 Magnum Drive, Flowood, Mississippi, 39232, with the contract for the construction of the McComb Sports Park Ball Field 3 and 4 lighting project. That's bid number MC01180001 in the amount of $337,000. And further authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Lemon Tullis.
Second.
Lemon Cameron. And board, this is a project that we rebid. It's over our engineer's estimate the first time. This one our engineer's estimate was $350. This one came in. Second time around, we got $337. Very good. Ron Kessler, Director of Recreation. You want to speak to this?
No, we're pleased with what the results came in. We had 4 bids come in. 2 of them were invalid, so we were able to open up the bid, and 337 we're pleased to what we're looking at with the group out of Flowood. So looking forward to this project getting off and running. Got some great weather ahead of us, so it's a 120-day contract, and we're looking at moving here pretty quickly.
Okay. Discussion board. Selectman Hill, sir.
I think that we're in the wrong for having many different parks around our city, and we spend this significant amount of money in one area for lights, only for lights. For from what you guys have said, to bring in visitors into our city to play baseball or soccer, or what you guys have said, visitors. What are we doing? How are we spending our significant amounts of money in this park that we already have? the parks that our mayor have, given word and promise to complete, that he, voted down, Air Jails and our Beartown Park. And we jump up and spend $337,000. There was a motion to, I asked for only $140,000 to, add a few things to the parks that are within my ward. That was denied. There was a list of things given that I needed. It was denied. We have children sitting in our audience tonight that live in these certain areas that these parks need improvement, but we'll pay $337,000 for some lights for visitors to come to our city. I think that we're in the wrong. I think that with the discretion of a gym within our city that many of our children use, I think that with the direct neglect of certain communities within our city, I think that it's finally starting to show within our crime rate, and I think that it's finally starting to show within our educational system as well. I think this city needs to take a better approach at public, but more community recreation, and we have failed to do that. And I think that it's finally starting to show within our city. Many people ask, why don't we have any businesses coming to our city? The numbers don't add up. And it starts right here at this city board, and we haven't done our job, and this is a direct reflection of why. Spending $337,000 on some lights. When we know other parts in our city need help, and this comes directly from our hotel motel tax, which is funded just to use for parks, recreation, and tourism. This is a large portion of that funding for lights, not for other parks around our city, but for lights in one particular area for 2 fields, lights.
All right, Selectman
That's
Toler.
almost a $500,000.
Mr. Mayor.
I reached out to 6 cities concerning the sports park,
All right.
and I'd like to read comments that came from those cities. Mayor's office, City of Hattiesburg. We would be lost without our sports park. Lighted fields for youth and adult league and tournament play makes the possibilities endless. The economic benefit it has been to the City of Hattiesburg can't be described in words. Monday through Friday is traditionally league play for us. We have a user radius of about 50 miles during league play. On weekends, we see the majority tournament play, which has a user radius of most of the southeastern part of U.S. teams travel from Texas to Florida on a regular basis to play events at our park. This past summer, our organization ran 3 straight weekend tournaments at our facility, pulling teams in from all over, and the economic impact for our city for those 3 weekends alone is $5.5 million. The director for Caven Sports Park. With 9 lighted fields, we have so much versatility with events that we can host. We host lots of soccer leagues, tournaments in the spring and fall, as well as large baseball and softball events each year. We have developed an interlocal agreement with area schools, allowing them to use our facilities throughout the school year and use their equipment facilities around the city, county as needed. And we added lights to 2 of our fields. Without lights, we nearly tripled the business revenue we're doing previously. Comments from the field supervisor of the park in Brandon. We have 17 total fields in Brandon, and on average 10 to 12 get used every time we host a softball or baseball tournament. Our tournaments generate a major economic boom for our city. Our local restaurants and hotels make a killing every time we have a tournament in town. Every tournament we host has somewhere between 50 to 70 teams participating. We use the national average and assume that with each child on each team, he or she will have a 2.5 family visitor pass through the gates of our sports park at each event. We're excited already to have 79 team tournament schedules for March. Recreation Director, Ocean Springs. Weekends are devoted to tournaments 90% of the time. Our calendar is pretty much full 7 days a week, some sort of activity going on at the park. Our local community takes part in recreation activities like soccer, flag football, and much more. We cleared $17,000 in just rental fees that week, and our hotels and restaurants saw a huge economic impact during that week. Director of Recreation, City of Biloxi. The H.J. Holloway Sports Park in Biloxi is used for both community league play as well as tournament play. Weekend tournament events bring many out-of-town visitors to our city, and thus our local businesses flourish during those times. We also have developed an interlocal agreement with our area schools. We share playing fields with the schools, and in return, they give us the opportunity to use some of their field equipment as well as indoor playing and meeting facilities. The Director of Gulfport Sportsplex. The Gulfport Sportsplex has 8 lighted ball fields. We stay booked all 12 months of the year. Our local businesses receive major impacts economically every weekend when we host a major tournament. In 2017, we hosted 64 tournaments. Remember, there are only 52 weeks in the year. During those 64 tournaments, we hosted a total of 2,748 teams. The average team has 12 players on it, using the national average of visitors per player ratio of 2.5, along with tourism rate of $200 a day. We can say that our Gulfport Sports Park generated approximately $15 million of revenue for our city in 2017. If a selectman votes against this kind of economic development, it's not good for the city of McComb.
Anybody else? Lemon Hill?
I'm not disagreeing that the lights are not needed. I'm saying that we have other needs in our city besides spending $337,000 on lights right now. What about our children that are not skilled to the play? What about our children that just want to walk out their front door and go slide down a slide? What about our children that want to go play dodgeball, soccer, baseball right out in their neighborhood every day when there's outside scheduling? That's what I'm speaking about. I'm not speaking about scheduled stuff. I'm speaking about stuff that you can use on a day-to-day basis after school. That's what our children need. You're speaking about money, I'm speaking about lives.
They need parents.
Selectman Brock.
Hold on. Wait. There was a comment just made by our selectmen at large and said that sound like our children need parents. Every child needs a parent. Every child needs a parent. And those parents, whether they like it or not, they have to pay taxes that we have to spend. So whether they're a good parent, bad parent, or parent, not at all. They pay taxes here, and we are in control of spending that money to help their lives. Not talking about bringing in tax revenue and building a base and that doesn't matter at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I'm concerned you sit over there smiling, but we got children dying every day in the city of McComb being locked up as juveniles before they can even reach age enough to even start their own bank account.
Selectman Brock, did you have something, sir?
No, I'm not, because sound like they need parents. What message does that send to our community and our city? Sound like they need parents. Sound like